Hello and welcome back to the show. My name is Garrett Vita and I'm your host. Today I have my good friend Nikki with me. Welcome to the show, Nikki.
Hello, good
So
to be
glad
here.
that you're here. So just for the audience, she's a serial entrepreneur from catering business to taxes to do Mary Kay and now social media. And you're probably wondering why I have a social media manager on my show when it's all real estate. The reason why I have a social media manager on here is because as you grow your business in real estate, you really need to get out there, especially with social media, Instagram, everything's expanding. And why not have the best tools you can have and best team without having a social media manager? So I'm super glad that you're here with me. I've been wanting to have this interview. I pick your brain since we've been working together. I know the audience will get a lot. I know I definitely have. Fun fact, she's in Mary Kay, she's had nine cars in 5 years? 5 years, so that's one accomplishment, so congratulations for that. So for a social media manager, what's usually the typical scope of a social media manager? Because I know there's like content creators that people can hire too, and I know that stuff gets in the mix sometimes.
Correct. Well, it's definitely a lot of aspects to it. One of the things that I think is a big deal is, yes, definitely a social media manager should have an understanding on content, but it's also a thing of like the strategy. I manage multiple different clients, so I think it's like one of those things where you have to have an understanding of like who is the person in front of you, understanding how to dive into their avatar, so you're not just throwing stuff out there, creating whatever in the world. So I think that when you're looking for somebody, it's not just somebody that can take words. A lot of times people go and get the people that just put words on the screen to whatever it is that you're creating. I think having someone that truly understands like who is your target audience helps you to like kind of create what a plan looks like what days are we doing what, understands that aspect, understands like what is the feed supposed to look like. And then beyond that, like a social media manager should also have some understanding on automation. It doesn't just stop with the let's put up the post, like a lot of people label themselves social media manager. And I always joke, I'm like, yeah, no, there's automation in there. There's like, there's just so many different aspects. Marketing is definitely a big piece to it. I love when I get a person that comes to the table and has something that I can sell, because it's like, okay, let's move, One of the big things I think that we're new kind of focusing in on is the community aspect. Can your social media manager help you to create a community? Can they help that person that's looking through the green dot at you fall in love with you? Because those become your people. That, that becomes your community. And if you get a social media that understands how to help you build a community for your avatar, then it really, really expands you a lot differently. So, no, it's not just you, because you can go to Fiverr and all these other little things and find somebody that's just going to put up posts if that's what you want to do. But somebody that understands the analytics and can help you get to the base of why this is going. Like social media managers that are good should be able to tell you, well, when I put this post up, this is what should happen based off the analytics on like what's happening on this day or what's happening off of that day. What's the strategy? We recorded here, so this should work this way. And I think a lot of times people try to find shortcuts, and with marketing, it's like one of those things, like you get what you pay for when you're looking for a person that is really, they become like your shadow. That's what it should feel like. It's like, this is my person that speaks my language so well to the person that's on the other side of the green dot, that person on the other side of the green dot should never even know that there's a lapse between you and the person that's working behind the scenes. Interesting.
So it sounds like the quarterback now for like marketing, because like you have so many different little niches within of social media and marketing. It's like they're really like the ones that coordinate everything.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Exactly.
So I know there's the Fiverr, they have different fees. What's a typical standard fee for like a good social media manager? Do they do by the rate, or is it per reel or post, or is it like a combination of both, or maybe it's neither of those?
So I love that question, because when we first started, like we had no idea what to charge for. Like on Fiverr, you see that these people will make you a video for $5-10, right? Yeah. But a social media manager is doing more than creating a reel. It took us about 2 years before we realized like the aspect of really like being on top of our clients to gather all the content. Because most entrepreneurs, especially like real estate ones, and I've had a couple real estate clients, they are too busy to collect the content, right?
Yeah.
So like what I tell people is this: if you had to write it all out, if you had to go hire a videographer, if you had to hire a photographer, if you had to hire the person that was going to put the videos together, if you had to hire a person that was going to run your analysis, tally up those. Go and God, ChatGPT is everywhere right now. Go talk to ChatGPT and ask it individually what each one would cost. But I always look at it like this. So if you're getting a brand new person that's kind of figuring it out, like realistically, you probably need to be looking at like minimum $500, minimum, right? But then when you're talking about these ones that really, really have it down and navigate it, you're talking about easily like $20,000 to $30,000, just depending, because if you've got somebody that's posting, right, because it's not just like, let's take a video of you talking and let's put it up like that. No, let's find the good pieces that's really going to resonate with your audience. So if you're talking about a person that's going through and they're dropping 3 to 4 pieces of content on all of your platforms, now we're talking about a massive amount of hours that are going into the work. And so I think sometimes people want to try to go a cheap route. And the cheapest, I would say, and this is for somebody with no experience that you're going to get, is you're talking about spending $500.
A month, or is that per?
That's per month. That's per month. Like easily, without me even thinking about it. That's somebody that has no idea what they're doing. They just started. You know what I mean? Like they're still figuring out how hashtags work. That kind of person. Like they haven't even figured out that there's tools inside of Canva that they can schedule out the posts. That's, that is what you're talking about, like at the beginning, because if you start adding up the different apps and the tools that it costs to even run that stuff on a monthly, like it adds up. So, low end, I would say if you're getting somebody that has no idea what they're doing and you're willing, but the key, and this is what I always loved about like even working with you, it's like, you allowed us to grow, like you grew with us, And so I think like when you start off with a person that is starting off, because you need a lower price, maybe that's where your budget is, you have to be willing to give grace for that person to grow into the position. Now, if you are like, no, I want to move fast, then you go get you one of these people that's going to charge you $10,000, $15,000 a month. Yeah. Because that is reality. That is what it costs. Like I remember, we were working with this one client, and scripting is a thing that people don't know that goes into social media a lot of times, like script out the content so you're not having to do the guesswork on what you should say. And it was like 16 scripts for like $5,000. Wow. And I remember being like, whoa, but that's real, because if they're going to get you a targeted result, like you need this group of people that's targeted to your niche. Yeah. To buy your $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 program. So that's realistic, kind of what those numbers look like.
Hey, that's interesting. You definitely get what you pay for.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. What when you're talking about the scripts, is it, from your clientele and what you've seen, is it better to have, because I know when you script it too much, you sound robotic and it don't sound like you, but if you have a script there as like a guide. Exactly. Have you noticed which one's better than the other, or is it like really dependent on how the client really knows himself well enough in the content and the topic?
I definitely think that giving a client a blueprint and having a script is the smartest way to go, because a client does not have time to go and study like what's trending right now. What hook is a good hook to look at? I mean, like our team has 96 hooks.
96.
That is on one form that's like, hey, look at these, figure out what you're comfortable with. Because that very first statement, you've got to capture somebody in the first couple seconds of them clicking that video. Yeah. And everybody wants to start off their video like, hey guys. Everybody's like, hey guys. I'm like, no, you cannot start it like that, So like having that blueprint to say, how are we hooking this person from the beginning? So I do think that it's important, because most people don't think in the terms of a social media manager in the form of like, do you have a hook? Do you have a call to action? What's the storyline? You know what I mean? But that's a good social media manager does think about that. Like, how are we capturing these people? How are we keeping them on for the longevity of this video? And then where are we pointing them to next? And so the script is there to like really guide you through the 1, 2, 3, and let's shut it down and move on to the next video. So I do think it's super, super important to have some layout, not to lose yourself in the script, but to have a guide, you know, because my people don't lose themselves in the script. They are very much themselves, even with that script layout.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that with mine too. I'm like, it's nice to have a script, but like too much is like, now I'm reading it off.
Right,
like,
right, exactly.
So when someone's trying to find a social media or talking to many, what questions would you ask to really vet the ones that are like all talk or actually know what they're doing, or maybe they're too new for them?
In the beginning was, well, they would have a big following, right? And so I kind of have learned a little bit differently as I've gone. Some of them do have really big, strong social media because they have one of the people that has helped me the most, Kelsey. Oh my God, I love her. Right? She built her stuff, and it took her 2.5 years to build her stuff strong. You know, and she has helped me to cut down on a lot of learning curves. But what I've learned is a lot of times a social media person, i.e., I'm very guilty of this. Like, I'm not focused on going and putting 5 million pieces of my own stuff because I'm focused on like, how am I helping my client grow? You know, now when I do put something up, my stuff does very well because I understand the 1, 2, 3s of what I should be posting, you know? So I would say, like, when you're going to look for somebody, the first thing that you shouldn't just go, oh, well, they need to have 5 million followers themselves, you know, because there's so many people that are buying followers, and that's not an indicator, period. Yeah. I would say it's conversation. It's definitely conversation. What is your metric system? Like, how are you analyzing what it is that you're putting up? What are your KPIs? Like, a lot of people don't even understand, and that, you know, that came with experience for me. Do you understand how to create me or help me build my email list? That's another thing, because email marketing is a very strong form of marketing. Do you already have that set up? Do you understand, like, if I have that system, you know, like if I'm the entrepreneur, if I have that system and I'm talking to a social media manager, can you take my system and flow with the system I have, or add to the system that I have? And then the other thing for me, and I learned this probably in the last year, is, so what is my ROI? People don't understand, even with the social media manager, what is my return on investment? What does that window possibly look like for when I can be looking at monetization on some level? Like, if you go to a social media manager and you have no presence, can they give you some metrics for, like, how long am I waiting before I should be getting a ROI, or some, you know, I should see some type of growth that's either my following has grown and now I can push them to this place, or I can monetize and make money by doing this thing or pointing them into this course or whatever. So those are things that I think are super important. You know, and then of course, like, aesthetically, do they understand branding, you know? Because sometimes you get these people that are like, let me slap whatever, and then the feed is like ugly as fuck. So I think that them having some understanding, either being connected to somebody that has branding in that wheelhouse, or either that it's in-house and they understand how to do it, is super important.
How would you define branding? Because I know that's very, I don't want to say sensitive, but there's a lot of like gurus out there that say branding is this, but other people say it's that. Social media influencers say it's this, but like, what's your perspective?
I think that branding is your voice, like truly who you are. You know, I don't, like, some people want to narrow it down to one thing or that thing. I'll use myself for example. You know, like you said, like, I have Mary Kay in there. Like, part of my branding is I am a mom, I am a grandmother, you know, and part of my branding is I am a social media manager. But if you look at me holistically, I'm an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So I think that branding is really like, what is your core message? What is your voice? Like, what do you speak to the loudest? And some people will even call it like they'll try to put it in that same idea of like a niche, and I'm like, niche. Not niche, you know, like
the topic.
Exactly. They want to put it in there, but I don't think it's so much like that. I think it's really truly the voice of like, who are you? Like, if somebody looked at your stuff, like, who are you? They should be able to sum that up in 3 or 4 words. It shouldn't be like, let me write this whole paragraph because you have all these things going on. Like, if people look at my stuff, they're like, okay, she is like a super powerful, like, super mom, you know, killing it. It's a super simple thing that goes along with who I am. You know that I'm a mom. You know I am an entrepreneur, period, point blank. And you know I'm killing the game at both of those things. So I think that people try to make that way too, like, let me get so meticulous with it. It's really a question of like, Who are you? Like, who are you? And so many people don't know how to answer that question.
That's interesting. I've heard a lot of people with social media just being someone they're not. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's right up.
It's the copycats, but authenticity sells. Like, you being real, 100% real yourself, you know, in the place of your victory, because that's the key. You know, like, you know, it's okay to have the things that you go through and the trauma and the bad stuff, but you have to learn how to unfold those stories from a victorious place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. I know when it comes to branding, like logos and colors, would you recommend people to have less focus on that and focus more on the voice, or is it kind of like?
So I do. I think sometimes people get stuck in the nitty-gritties, like the little things. I mean, find a person that makes a logo, or you know, like ChatGPT. Like, if you're not using ChatGPT and AI in this age are crazy, because they have all of these different things like really at the palm of your hand. And what I do believe is ChatGPT and AI have taken people like social media managers, right? Social media managers that were working their butt off, it's just made us like way faster, because it's like a tool that's like, okay, great, we can pump this out because here's this tool that knocks down some of that research that's in there, right? And then you have like the lazy social media manager. It's just made them more lazy. You know what I mean? But I would tell anybody that's one of those little things that people want to put a ton of focus. Either delegate it to someone who really is like, this is what they do, and let them make the dang on logo.
Yeah.
You know, because they're going to ask you some questions. Somebody that creates a logo is going to ask specific questions about who you are, where it is that you want to focus. They're going to ask you your name and like, what do you want the company to represent? I don't think you should spend a lot of time on that. You know, I think people put too much time in the itty bitty stuff.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I know when I was first starting biz, I always used to focus on like that nitty gritty stuff. Like, oh, how does this match my logo? Do I like it? Like, no.
It's like, now, and the reality is, as you grow, it's probably going to change anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that, you know, like our first logo was, because it's, you know, this is mine and my son's company.
Yeah.
So our first logo was me with like him on my back, like little.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's so bad, you know. And now it is like a lion, because that is like really, you know, the heart of a lion and what a lion represents. Yeah. It's that, and now our NC is inside of it. So it's changed as we've grown, and I'm sure it'll change because my son's like not super excited about it now, you know. So I'm sure that it'll change again, you know. But it changes as you grow. We're not going to spend 3 years trying to figure out what a logo is. Put the logo up, let's run with it, because we've got the big stuff to focus on. We've got our message to focus on. We've got the job to focus on. So yeah, the nitty gritty stuff, you're going to change it anyway. You're going to change your colors at some point. Like, as you grow and expand, it's always like you don't, it's like the same idea of like women like do the upkeep. They change their hair. They change their, you know what I mean? As they go, some women go and they chop all their hair off when they get to a certain status. It's that same type of idea. As you grow, you're going to change. My bet is your hairstyle has changed from when you first started, you know, your entrepreneurship journey. You're not going to keep it the same. You're going to grow and evolve as you go through the process. So that's a small thing.
I love that. That's awesome. As we're in 2024 moving forward, which other channels, social media channels, do you think has the most opportunity?
Honestly, I believe that I'm in a cross with this right now, like 100% in a cross. But YouTube and TikTok for me are the big ones. YouTube, if you can be consistent, but it's like hardcore consistent. Like, you are hitting that gas on that. TikTok, because right now they are like very, very heavy on the monetization of digital products, their shops, like they are very heavily focused there. So those two, I always tell people, I think that Instagram is the greediest platform ever, and everybody is over there killing themselves trying to make it, but their algorithm changes every freaking 3 days. You know, there's something new over there. So I think create the content, repurpose it, yes, but killing yourself to try to make it work over there. I don't think that's where your money is. I think YouTube and TikTok is definitely where your money is. And TikTok right now is throwing a lot of money out on their shops and people going live. Oh my gosh, like if I hear one more person go, and people are going live about anything. Anything right now. Because once you get over 1,000, you can go live over there. Once you have 1,000 followers over there, then you can go live over there. And people, like, there's ways to make money, like, once you go live over there. So, like, that to me, like, I have this guy I'm connected to, and probably, I would say maybe a year ago, he was just starting out. He's at 17,000 followers over there now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's consistency. He's there. His people know he is showing up live over there on his certain days every single week, like clockwork. So he's been able to really build his brand over there. Yeah.
Is TikTok highly regulated like YouTube and other platforms?
Censored,
I guess.
TikTok, in some manners, yes. In some manners, yes. So they are a little bit more strict about people under 18 being on their platform. They're a lot more strict about that. The music, they seem to be a little bit more strict about. However, I think that when it comes to like the freedom to create, that's like your after 5 crowd. You know, like when you get off work and you let your hair down, like that's like there's a different liberty and freedom over there in the creation process. But yeah, no, I don't think so. Those are the two big things that I notice like more often than not is like that 18-year-old rule, which they say it on the other platforms, but then you see like all these kids over on all these other platforms, you know. Yeah. But over there, like your stuff will get shut down.
Oh,
behind.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a very like hardcore like line for them.
Interesting. Are there any I guess new social media platforms that are like on the rise? Kind of like, you know, all these platforms were like not known before, and now they're like, is there any upcoming ones you know of or sites on?
So honestly, I think one that people sleep on, believe it or not, like especially if you are in the real estate world, I think one that people sleep on is LinkedIn. I really do think people sleep on that because you have to think they're like you've got like serious business professionals over there, right? And you can get all their information. You know exactly what they do because like their whole layout is there. And I think a lot of people sleep on LinkedIn that are entrepreneurs. Like if you have a product that's, you know, you're selling a product that's $10,000, like your people might be over there on LinkedIn depending on what it is that you're focused on, you know. Real estate, you can see a whole layout of what they're into, what they do for a living. You can see where their income is. And those connections, I love it because they kind of connect the dots for you. So I do think that like if I'm looking at something from the aspect of like I need to sell a product that's a little bit higher end, LinkedIn is one that I probably would put a little bit more focus on. Because it's just a different conversation altogether over there. You don't have all of the dancing and that whole bit that goes with it. Exactly. Yeah. It is very much more, a lot more focused professionally than the other platform.
Does their platform favor more like long form content or short term? Or
so what I've noticed is stills tend to do a little bit better over there.
Oh, stills, interesting.
They tend to do a little bit better over there. The power stick, because the people over there don't have time to watch a bunch of stuff. They don't have time to watch a bunch of stuff. But you can put a powerful quote, a powerful message with an amazing photo over there, and it will do very well. The numbers tend to trend a lot stronger over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you feel about blogs and stuff on there? I know some people write articles or blogs on there.
So I think with that, you're still looking at winning the crowd. I think you're still building, because I think to get somebody to read or to pay attention to anything, we live in a society where everything is, I want it in 10 seconds or less. And I don't care what platform you're looking at there. You know, that attention span over there is a little bit different, but still, like, I think it's building too. And I think it's the little build with anything. So I think like if you're looking at, I want somebody to read something that's going to take them 3 or 4 minutes to read. Yeah. Well, what have you built up to get them to read the 3 or 4 minutes? Or somebody that's connected to them, because a lot of times people share stuff, and like if you send me something, I'm more likely to actually read what it is than if you just pop up on my feed and I don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's still like, did you build your relationship enough with the person who is your avatar, your ideal client, that they would share it with somebody, and then you get that win in that aspect.
You know what's crazy on LinkedIn? There's so many. Well, I fell for this too. I used to just connect with or I think connect with other people even though I don't really know them or mutual connections. Do you recommend doing that or not?
So I think that, and I believe this in every industry that I'm in, like every industry that I'm in. I do not focus on like what's going to happen from every single connection. I always believe I'm going after the masses and I'll let God weave into the small.
Yeah.
Because if I focus on let me figure out every intricate detail of the you know what I mean? I'm going after the big people that hear my voice that are my people. I'm going after as many of those people as I can because you think about a funnel. I want as many of those people in my funnel as possible. And the reality is they're all going to fall at different places in their level of connection with you, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you get 5 million that come in because the message you put up today really, really resonated with them. And maybe they decide, oh, okay, well, I'm going to subscribe to your daily thing that you put, like all these things have these little subscriptions. So I'm going to subscribe there. Maybe you have a community and maybe the community is $100 to be in that community. Well, everybody's not making it to $100. Yeah. So now you've got some that are going to make it to this $100 mark, and then you're going to filter down a little bit more. And then maybe you have a program that's $500. Well, then you're going to lose even more, and so to me, I think the whole thing works in a funnel aspect and focusing on, well, should I really connect or not connect? Well, if they ran across you, so there was something that hit the avatar that worked for them and worked for you, and that's how you guys came across each other. I think you let the rest of it kind of filter itself out as it goes. Like,
do you have any tips on, I don't want to say beating the algorithm, but I guess outpacing it?
Oh my God. So there are definitely little tips. And there's so many people dropping so many different things. I think that having a system and a strategy and understanding that, I think it goes back to the beginning on the person that's helping you create the system and the strategy, because you have all these things where you can put words under your post, you can shrink the words so the screen still sees the words. You have all of these gimmicky things that but at the end of it, it goes back to, are you consistently posting with a rhythm and a strategy? Are you doing the same thing? 'Cause it goes back to consistency. Yeah. Are you willing to do the same thing and keep hitting? Most people fail because they won't just keep punching. They get like right there to the edge where the break is about to happen. And it's like, I'm tired of doing this. You know what I mean? Most people won't do something for 30 days.
True.
You know what I mean? Like most people won't give it, some people won't give it 3 days, without getting, and I think that's where having a social media manager or having a team behind you comes in. Because if you're a busy entrepreneur, no, you don't have, you're gonna get burnt out attempting to hit it hard enough to create a system that will produce results, that will draw in your people, that'll help you win.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that too. Before we started working together, I was trying to do it myself. Oh my gosh, my graphic design skills are terrible. I was trying to find photos from like back in like college, just like you could tell there's a difference. I'm like Garrett, you need some updated photos. That was my cue to finally get some photos.
But it's a continuous, like you think about it, like how often are you really like outside of like going and checking and getting a chance to like go and say, okay, well, they put some stuff in here and I just need to approve it. That's the blessing of having a team behind you that's helping you with it, is that you're not worried that those are little things. You have the big stuff to worry about. Our job is just to support and push the big stuff that you're bringing to us. You know what I mean? Your job is not to worry about all these itty bitty details. You don't have time. Like a person that is a big time entrepreneur or wants to be big, that is focusing on all these small, what time is my post going up? Did I use the right hashtags? What is it the right color? That's crazy. Yeah. And you're talking about building an empire. Now, if you want to play small, okay, definitely manage all that stuff yourself, knock yourself out. Yeah. But expect small results, because you're going to burn yourself out, and you will not hit the consistency on your own that's necessary to create the rhythm of growing that fast.
I know one of the things for entrepreneurs that post and content creators is really making things, I guess, trendy or viral. Do you have any tips, or what are some insights about like what actually makes these posts go viral or trendy, or have tons of views and blah blah blah?
consistently hitting a hook, a story, and a call to action, and understanding what it is for your avatar, period, point blank. And there's no, like, I honestly don't believe you, like, outside of hitting a consistency, you don't know which one is going to do it. You can just consistently do that same action of hook. Like, me and my son literally this week have been like, what the crap? Because we watched some stuff that went viral. And so we have found ourselves like dissecting, like, okay, what about this went viral? Why did this, you know what I mean? Because strong hook, great storyline, great call to action that led the audience back to something else. And so, like, recreating that, and then, like, understanding, like, as you're creating, are you creating something that's shareable that they would give to their audience, you know? So people are out here, like, really, really putting all this focus on. I hate when I hear people say that I'm gonna go viral. I'm like, you know, they give antibiotics and medication for viral stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like it's like you want to be viral. That's awesome. But I just like, because it's consistency.
Yeah.
It's consistency, and right now, because there's so many good people putting out, like, people are putting out great content of high value. And there's so many people doing it. Like, to step in the game and think you're going to do it tomorrow without a strategy is, like, insane. Yeah. It's insane. Like, what is your value you're bringing? What is the consistency you're bringing? And then do you have a hook, a storyline, and a call to action? Like, do you have those things in play? And a call to action is not going, buy my stuff. Go to my link. You know, because I get so sick of those people that are like, buy my stuff, get my link, hit my link. Like, it's like,
sign up here.
Right. It's like there's other ways to have, like, you know, call to action sometimes is just asking your audience, like, how are they doing? Like, how did you make it through? You know, like, how did you make it through? Did this post help you? You know, because the call to action is, I'm asking you, did it help you? Because I actually want you to comment on this message that I created, because, like, this is a real life thing that I walked through. You're my audience, and I really want to know, like, how are you? I love when I get the messages from people that, like, girl, you're talking to me today. You know, like, those are the best messages ever. When I go to an event and there's people that have watched my social and they come up to me and they're like, and I don't know who they are. Outside of, like, seeing their names pop up, you know, and they're like, I'm so-and-so on my platform, you know, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. I know who you are, you know, is that, like, that, especially the ones that I see often, then I'm like, oh, okay, yes, I do know you. You're always on all my stuff, you know, but it's such a good feeling, like, when you, and I've had, like, events that I've been at that people have walked up to me and, like, started crying, and, like, it's made me cry, because you never know, like, you're pushing a dot to deliver a message. And I think that that's one of the key points with social, no matter what it is that you're selling, no matter what it is that your brand is like, I love working with clients that have blueprints that essentially will help somebody else not have to go through all the things. You're giving them a layout on how to avoid all the stuff that comes with what you had to go through. And I love when I have somebody walk up to me and the blueprint of my life is helping them, because they're just looking at my blueprint going, okay, so I can detour here. I don't have to go that route. Okay, so let me today throw this garbage away. Let me not be angry about this because I heard Nikki say, you know what I mean? And I think that, like, so often, like, people, I want to go viral, I want to buy, I want people to buy, that becomes so heavy, the focus, that they forget your message is the forefront of all of it. Your message is to reach the people. And if you can get in there and, like, grab somebody's heart,
game over.
It's game over. It don't matter what you're selling. It don't matter what you're selling. Like, once you have this on a person, you know, and it just goes back to the whole idea of, like, do they like you? Like, do they like you? Have you built some trust in them? Like, because once you've got that combination working for you, then it's like, okay, game over. Let's get in here and make something happen, you know?
A big part of that, I know, with what you mentioned earlier, and then I've seen other people really creating communities through social media. I know some of your clients have really, with your help, have created communities within their niches. Do you have any tips on what makes a community successful and how to really create one that's actually a community? I know real estate people I follow, she was mentioning that like it's not a community if you just have a community Facebook group, you know, like what's the actual community aspect of it?
So the key word in community, we can just stop with commune, right? We stop at that first part. Well, communicate, you know, like and this is what I love when I see somebody that builds the community and then they're talking to their people. Because it takes like, yes, I can be in there and I can drop the informational, but when you're the one doing the videos and you're the one that's actually, like they feel like they're building a whole relationship. When they get to an event and they see you at an event, they should feel like you are their best friend because you've built this relationship. You've talked to them. We had a situation with one of my clients and he does cooking like on a like massive. He does all this nutrition and wellness. And he's really, really like phenomenal at it. We were doing a virtual cooking and there was this one lady, she got on a little bit late and it was interesting because I could tell like during the virtual, she kind of was struggling. And so at the end, normally he goes live and he talks about the cooking class and all the things that they learned in the class. And I was like, you need to call her like now because I feel like she was lost. I said, and you calling her is going to be different than me calling her. So he calls her and he talks to her husband. That lady is faithfully on every single, like she has turned into a she's not going nowhere type of client. Dang. Because he communicated and he built. So the other part of it is unity, right? Yeah. So now he's built a union of relationship with this lady. Yeah. So he's got both aspects. He's got the communication aspect. He's got the union that he's made with her. And so like she was on last week with her husband and her husband like at the end of the call came off mute and he was so grateful. So it's not just one person that he's now got. Now, who would you rather have out there as a person that you didn't take time to build communication and unity with out there saying, oh yeah, I do this cooking class, or the person that's like, oh no. Like, they really care. Like, trust me, you got to be on this call because they're going to speak differently. So when you're building a community, those are the two pieces. It's communication. How much are you communicating with your people? And are you really building a union? Are you unifying? Are you building unity between you and these people? Yeah. Because to build a community and then put a price point on it and not do those two factors is crazy. That you're money hungry. Like, yeah. And that's only going to go so far. You know, I think that goes to integrity and really like what is at the base. Like, it's great to make money because you have a skill set and a gift. But God gave you these gifts for you to do something a whole lot bigger. And like, if you're building a community, that's what it should be. It should be you communicating to build unity with these people that God has let be in your space.
That is awesome. That is great advice. You know, as we were talking, one person that comes into mind in the real estate space is Pace Morby. Do you know who he is?
I do know who he is.
His community is huge. And like, he's super interactive with them. Like, he's on like every week, 3-4 hours with everyone.
Exactly, because he's built communication.
I think there's like tens of thousands of people. Like, every time he comes to like Los Angeles, San Diego, I see like photos of like pretty much like half the freaking beach. I'm like, holy crap, that's wild. So I mean,
he's in his people's space.
Yeah, he's done a great job for his community. Yeah. And everyone like, every time someone sees, oh, so dude, it's like a party or something. I'm like, right. Am I missing something?
But they are in union with him. You know what I mean? Like, they are like, so you think about marriage, right? Because you always think when you hear the word union, that's what people think. Yeah. Like, union is for better or worse. You know what I mean? Like, marriage is better or worse. So like, he's built this relationship, this communication, through communication, that has developed such a level of unity with his people. It doesn't matter. Like, now if he wants to drop a product that's $10, you think about it. He drops a product that's $10 right now. That community is backing him. So you do the numbers on that. $10, 10,000 people in a community.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's crazy. It's crazy. He'll find deals for his members. It's within like minutes. I'm like, holy moly. And he'll incentivize them to do something for them. But if it goes back to them, it's like, wow, dude, what a great guy. Yeah. So. Yeah. And most important question, I've had a fun time. Where can our audience get to contact with you so they can learn about your services or pick your brain or get to know you more?
So I am everywhere. We are definitely on Instagram, NC_media_solutions. Nikki Cullen on Instagram as well. I am on Facebook. I am on TikTok. You name it, I'm there. I'm on LinkedIn. Hello. So everywhere. And we're in the process now of launching a YouTube channel because there's so many people that are just not using the tool of social media. And what we don't want to do is rest on the gift that we know God has given us to really help people facilitate that. So yes. And all my handles are below. So you can find us there.
Just as you suspect, a social media manager on all social media platforms. So there you have it. It's plain and simple. We hope you have certainly learned a lot. I know I have. Thank you so much, Nikki, for being here. Go follow Nikki for more awesome social media content as well as help. And then for more real estate tips and personal development tips, don't forget to watch my other videos, and we'll see you next time. That was good.